My Doctor Said What is a program for health information. Be careful that if you want treatment and diagnosis of disease, you need to go to your local healthcare provider. Hi, this is Dr. Frank with My Doctor Said What? And I think I finally figured it out. This is episode 32, available on all platforms, my podcast and YouTube if you'd like to view. I'd like to say, I said episode 32, which today we're going to talk about holiday illnesses and prevention of holiday illnesses. First, I'd like to say, before we get to that, in an interesting side note, again, some fast facts, there's been an outbreak of an unspecified respiratory illness, which seems fairly severe, and the pathogen or disease-causing agent has not yet been identified in many states, from Oregon to New Hampshire to Ohio, in dogs. And it is, again, unspecified. We don't know if it's a pathogenic soup of many different pathogens or if it is a new bacteria, virus, or fungi that's causing it. A lot of people are talking about mycoplasma, which is a pathogen that's common in dogs that can or cannot cause disease, depending, or can be asymptomatic. Same way in humans. Interesting, at the same time now, we're seeing cases of what they call white lung or walking pneumonia, or a type of pneumonia in children ages 4 to 13 or so that has developed in Ohio, New Hampshire, and other states. And again, it is unspecified. They have an unspecified pathogen. At the same time, in China, they're having pediatric white lung cases, so to speak. That's an outbreak there. The CDC and different people don't think it's related, but the surveillance for those drugs is not great in China. So we're not sure what's going on, but a really odd, there's something called zoonosis. So zoonotic diseases are diseases that can pass from animal to human or vice versa. And we don't know if these dog illnesses or canine illnesses are transferring to humans, or if there's a mixture, or if there's a gain of function in the animals or the human that's causing this. We have no idea. But this holiday, you need to be especially careful. We know that COVID, flu, and RSV, along with mycoplasma, are somewhat prevalent this year. So, all respiratory diseases, and that's something that is very common in this time of year. We're going to have holiday parties, you're going to have family get-togethers, you're going to have people traveling from different parts of the country, and then we're going to confine them in small houses, rooms, some with better ventilation than others. But let me tell you this, a couple things you can do to prevent holiday illnesses, especially the respiratory ones. Number one, wash your hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water. You don't need the antibacterial stuff. A lot of those have pesticides in them. You're doing more harm than good to your body over the long term. Just good old soap and water does a great job. Warm water, soap. Wash your hands for 30 seconds to a minute. That's the problem. People just do this and don't really wash their hands. They rinse their hands. But wash it carefully. Change the towel that you're drying with frequently for those household owners and business owners, or whatever they're drying their hands with, paper towels or whatever, as long as they're new and clean. That's a great thing. You want to, if you get a chance, sanitize your doorknobs and that every once in a while during this season. Every a couple days or so, nice to spray a little Lysol on them or something equivalent, and just wipe them off. It really reduces transmission of illness by putting your hands on your face, like I've said before, your eyes, your nose, your mouth primarily, or any open wound, cuts, abrasions. So you need to be really cognizant and careful of that. The other thing you do not want to do is eat or drink after anyone, including your own child or after your parent, because that is direct transmission of those germs, those pathogens potentially. Don't do it. I know you want to grab that and finish that pie and you feel sorry for people starving all over the world, but that's not the way to address that problem, because you're directly infecting yourself if they're asymptomatic and are ill, or if they're symptomatic and ill. Of course, you'd be a little more careful, but several days before someone shows symptoms, many times they're infected. And until they show symptoms and there's a certain number of pathogens that multiply, that's a very critical time where you can transmit the virus or bacteria or other pathogens to other people and they wouldn't know. And then there are carriers, like strep throat. There are carriers, people that are always asymptomatic or mostly asymptomatic, and yet they can infect everybody they come around. So good hygiene, really important. The other thing people don't think of is, your Christmas sweater and that, don't wear it to every event. The thing's getting full of germs and you're passing it around. So occasionally wash that. If it's dry clean only, well, it's probably not the best Christmas sweater, but you probably want to clean it every few days. Your clothes, make sure you're doing regular laundry, and that's killing those pathogens with the detergent and the heat and the drying. So make sure you keep up with hygiene, especially at this time. Your dishwasher should do a great job if you hand wash dishes, like I personally do because I enjoy it. You need to use very hot water and use plenty of dish soap and make sure you do a good job of cleaning. My wife would say I do not, so many times she re-cleans what I start to clean. So I'm kind of the pre-cleaner and she's a final cleaner. Then dry them with a clean towel and put them away. And that's very, very important. Again, good sleep, good nutrition are going to be really important. Overloading on calories in general, not good for long-term or short-term. But excess of sugar, excess of salt is really a bad recipe. And an excess of sleep, all those things are going to hurt your immune system, and you're going to be more susceptible to these diseases. So that's not something that you want to take lightly. Be vigilant this holiday season. Better to prevent the disease and have to deal with the disease, especially with the high cases of pneumonia going around as a primary or secondary infection, secondary to something like the flu or COVID or RSV, and it can just be primary. You get pneumonia directly from the bacteria. So keep that in mind. Sleep well. Don't overindulge in sugar, salt, or alcohol, which all lower your immune system. Don't stay up and exhaust yourself getting things ready or partying or doing whatever till you again reduce your immune system ability to fight off these diseases, prevent them, and then fight them if you happen to get them. Last but not least, I want to talk about mental health during Christmas. This is a wonderful time of year. The holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate, to interact with people, enjoy the season, be thankful for the things in your life that are positive, and try to minimize mentally and emotionally the things that aren't as good as you'd hope. Great time to reconnect with family and friends. But for a lot of people, it's one of the most stressful times of the year. For those that are alone, for those that have difficult times financially, physically, in any way, those that have issues with hearing, that feel socially isolated, it can be a really difficult time. Those that are going through relational breakups, it can be a stark reminder of how lonely people can feel. And why it's concentrated during the holiday, I think, is because we see all these happy faces in the wonderful Christmas movies or holiday movies, and then we are the opposite of that. We're sitting alone eating a TV dinner on Christmas Eve or the week leading to Christmas, or we're isolated at work or home, and it's just really hard on people. Try to reach out and smile to somebody, tell them you appreciate them, be encouraging to them, and Let's have a great holiday season. Have a great day. This is Dr. Frank saying, my doctor said what? On all major platforms. Thank you again to my 65,000 listeners and my small group of viewers. Feel free to follow me on any of the major platforms. Have a great day and a wonderful Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Remember, send your comments and questions to Dr. Frank at mdswpod@gmail.com.